What's up, guys? Welcome to Milking Milton. You know, honestly, I don't know if I'm going to keep that channel name. For right now, that's what it is. Probably just going to do a bunch of rants and stuff on this channel. At least with this first video, I'm just going to kind of talk unscripted about this issue that's kind of been going around online in the fitness industry circle, which, I mean, let's be honest, the fitness industry has little to do with fitness anymore, but steroids, are they moral? That's what I'm going to talk about in this video, the morality of steroids. Zach Tellender recently did a video responding to or reacting to the Jubilee video, kind of about this topic. It's a little bit, they have a bunch of smaller questions about steroids versus natural bodybuilding, stuff like that. Zach Tellender's video is pretty good. I watched the whole thing. I didn't watch the whole Jubilee video because it honestly just kind of started to annoy me at a certain point. But yeah, I'll probably try to link Zach's video in there, or I don't know, in the comments or in the description somewhere, because it's pretty good. I don't necessarily agree with everything that Zach said, but overall, I do like his takes. He's very objective, or at least non-biased, and I kind of want to get on here and talk about a side of the subject that nobody has really talked about, at least not any big creators, not any videos that I've seen. I'm sure there are some smaller ones out there that kind of think about it, but I'm going to talk about why steroids are not moral. And the questions that have been debated, especially probably the most famous debate, or I guess like the biggest ones, were the discussions that happened between natural hypertrophy and revival fitness. They went hours just going back and forth with each other. They got nowhere. Okay, it was absolutely ridiculous, and they have no idea how to argue any type of moral point. I mean, I don't know. I'm not expecting these people to be, you know, philosophy nerds or actually know how to argue anything the slightest bit philosophically, but I mean, they're talking about moral issues. Okay, is you know, steroids moral or not? And the way they present the questions is, are you a better person if you stay natural, and are you a bad person if you're enhanced? Both of which are stupid questions. Okay, let's just get that out of the way first. Those are stupid questions. Asking if you are a bad person if you take steroids is like asking a person, are they fat because they ate a brownie? Okay? You don't get fat just from eating one brownie, and you don't get skinny just from eating one salad. The same way you're not a bad person if you take steroids. You are not defined by one thing that you do, okay? That's just the truth of the matter. And that's a very nuanced conversation, but when we're talking about morality, we have to get some things straight, okay? So, yeah, I just want to get that out of the way. They talked about these questions, and they were like, oh, well, like, if you think that steroids are bad, that means you think John Meadows was a bad person, and John Meadows wasn't a bad person, because, I mean, look, he loved his family, and he had a great family, and that just shows how ignorant you are, because John Meadows is a great person. It's like, bro, that question is stupid, first of all, because I would say that, yeah, what John Meadows, taking a bunch of steroids, ending his life early, and, obviously he didn't do it on purpose, but he is culpable for that, okay? He is responsible for his life ending early. And yeah, that took a toll on the family, because it's his responsibility to be there for the family. His son was like, what, like 10? And you guys are just like, well, he's not a bad person. I'm not saying he's a bad person, but what he did, yeah, it's sad for a reason, because it's bad, okay? And again, like, I actually liked a lot of John Meadows' stuff, and he seemed like overall a good person, But I'm just debating this one issue, okay? This one issue. is taking steroids bad. Okay, that's all I'm talking about in this video. So yeah. Also, just a side note on the revival fitness natural hypertrophy thing. Neither of them, like I said, neither of them are philosophers, which I'm not saying you have to be a philosopher, whatever that means, to debate these sort of things. I'm just saying I'm not going to take their worldview seriously because, like, you know, they just seem they're not very firmly grounded, and they don't have a firm grasp of reality when it comes to things as important and fundamental to our reality as morality itself. So, I'm not even trying to paraphrase here. I'm pretty sure the natural hypertrophy has said something to the effect of there's nothing more important than waking up in a body that you love. I think he said that in his video called like Why I Lift or Why We Lift. I mean, if you say something like that, I'm just not going to take your worldview seriously. I'm just not, because that's a crazy claim, first of all. It's also a selfish claim. Actually, I'll kind of get into that. That's kind of my first actual argument against steroids. But yeah, I think all of the conversations that have happened online that have to do with this issue have just gotten nowhere. And if you're arguing, you know, on the planes of morality, you first have to have some understanding of, like, yeah, how morality works. And you can't, like, nowhere have I heard anybody talk about some actual, I guess, how do I say this? I've never heard anybody allude to any sort of objective moral standard when they're talking about the morality of steroids. They're just like, well, I mean, I like it, the results of it, and it's my body, my choice. So, like, yeah, that's it. I'm like, is that how morality works? Or, like, are we all arguing about the same morality? You know what I mean? Because morality is either objective or it's not. If it's subjective, it means nothing. Which I guess is kind of ties into my first point. I mean, where is God in all of this? Okay, and I know some of you guys might say, "Oh, you can have morality without God. You don't need morality, or you don't need God to have morality." You can try, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really make any sense. Okay, at the very least, you need to admit that there is some objective moral standard out there. Okay, so for every objective dilemma, pretty much, I mean, there's either a yes or like a right or a wrong. Okay. So, like, because if there's not, again, if morality is not objective, it's pointless, and there's no reason that we should care what anybody else thinks. There's no reason that we should debate these things, and there's no reason to do what anybody else tells you, right? So, like, if I say that if we, we abolished slavery under Abraham Lincoln, the Emancipation Proclamation basically abolished slavery in the United States, and that's a good thing, okay? We agree that that's a good thing. But if you all of a sudden say that morality is subjective, then, okay, so it's not actually a good thing, and we just did it, why? Because society wanted to? Well, yeah, but I mean, like, half of our society didn't want to. So we can't actually say that they were wrong. We just wanted it our way because we had this arbitrary feeling that it was the right thing to do, or it would please us to see, that people were freed from slavery. No, obviously we all know that certain things are bad and certain things are good. Okay, that's just how it works, and we have to understand reality from that perspective. If we don't, we're nihilists, and nihilism's dumb. My second point is the people that argue, but basically everybody online, that argue for or against steroids, who say, it's my body, my choice, it's your body, your choice, are wrong. And yes, this applies to other areas of life or other issues that people use that argument for or against. Abortion, transgenderism. Okay, I'm not going to get into those just yet. Or not just yet. I mean, I'll probably do that in another video or something. But the understanding, like the premise of my body, my choice is fundamentally flawed. Because, first of all, You don't have a body. You are your body. Okay? I know that might seem like a stupid distinction or a pointless distinction, but if you stop thinking of your body as something that you like own and you can kind of just do whatever you want with it because it's yours and I'm like, yeah, it's my property. No, that's just wrong, because it is you, right? If you say, if you, if your leg gets chopped off, you say, oh, my leg gets chopped off. Because, yeah, I mean, it's your leg, but it also is, like, part of you, right? We don't say, like, well, it's part of my body and I own my body. Like, no, when we say, like, my leg hurts, we say, I'm hurting, I am hurting, right? Because it's me, my body, I am my body. Obviously, you're more than just a body, but you get my point. You are your body. The second part to this is your body doesn't belong to you, okay? Your body does not belong to you. This might seem kind of weird and like might be a little bit of a logical leap for people, again, who are nihilists or atheists, but I am presenting the most coherent worldview out of anybody that's talked about this issue, okay? Because I'm arguing from the place of we have inherent dignity, value. We also were made with a purpose, and that purpose, it lies outside of ourselves, especially outside of our bodies. We were made for something greater than ourselves. And so when we talk about, okay, my body, my choice, we're just saying, well, I mean, I'm kind of just made for myself. I belong to myself. I can do whatever I want for myself because of myself and blah, blah, blah. Okay? I'm actually saying that we have a purpose. Yes, John Lennon was incorrect when he wrote the song Imagine. Okay? That song sucks. I'm going to do a video on that. But we were made for something greater than ourselves. And so our bodies, we can't just treat it like trash. We can't just treat it like, well, I can just do whatever I want. I can be, I can just chop off my, to be a different gender, tomorrow because it's my body and I can just do whatever I want with my body. No, like, you were made for something greater than yourself, and you have to submit to that. That's our ultimate calling, is to submit to that, to submit to our purpose and actually follow that purpose. So, again, if anybody else can refute that and actually present a compatible and coherent worldview, I would like to hear it. I haven't heard one, at least in the context of steroids. Okay, so that's my second point. The third point, finally, is just when it comes to that relates to like the health side of things, because if you're doing something that's unhealthy for your body, and like John Meadows, for example, and I have some respect for John Meadows. I didn't know him personally, obviously. I mean, look at me, I'm like half of his weight, but like what he did, he left his family way too early, and everybody knew that. It was so sad. Everybody was mourning online. Everybody was mourning his death because it was just a sad thing. And to say that he doesn't have any responsibility for something other than his body, it's just kind of ridiculous. Like, obviously he has a responsibility to his family. He's the head of the household. He's the head of his own society. I mean, that's like a king, a king just like leaving his government in disarray, without a leader. Because he just, he's like, I just want to be jacked. So I'm like gonna not be the leader anymore. Obviously it's a little bit different because John Meadows didn't do it on purpose. But I mean, to actually take so many drugs to where your health is at risk constantly. It's irresponsible to say the least. And irresponsibility can definitely be a moral issue. And I just, I think in a case where, your responsibility to your family is really being put at risk, that's definitely wrong. Your family and your responsibility to your family should come before, competitive bodybuilding, for sure. And now the third point is going to be more so for the people that are like, well, you can take drugs, but not so much that, it actually affects your health. If you take a little bit of testosterone, it actually could help your health. And, a lot of people aren't taking so many drugs that, their health isn't actually at risk, and they get their blood checked, a lot, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So my third point is that when you take steroids to look jacked, or to be stronger, or to compete at a level that's not natural, you're doing it because of ego. And a lot of people might not see it this way, or who are on gear, they might not think of it like this. And again, I'm not saying that like this makes somebody a bad person, or I'm also not saying like some people have more malintent than others, right? There are some, fitness personalities again, online that I respect, that are on gear. I just don't respect that decision, but again, I mean, like, just putting the health, stuff aside, let's pretend you're taking steroids and you're totally healthy. You are, again, if you come from a religious, a non-religious perspective of the world, you might not understand this, but if you take steroids because I just want to compete at a higher level, or I just want to be, super physiologically stronger than I could naturally, I just want to be more jacked, you are building the Tower of Babel. It's an ego thing, whether you realize it or not. You can't play God, okay? You can't just say, well, this body that that I've been given and that has been made so intricately and, with a purpose, it's not good enough for me, I need to inject some stuff in it and make it bigger, and, and I just need to be stronger than I could naturally. Because other guys did it. Other guys are doing it. And so I need to do it because I want to compete against those other guys. And you might kind of have a noble goal, okay? But I do think that decision is fundamentally flawed and fundamentally wrong. I think there's a reason that so many guys cannot get off steroids. It's addictive, just like any other drugs. But they can't get off of it because, they don't want to go the natty route because it takes too long and it's not worth the work. I just want to be jacked right now. Boom, they take steroids. They go on one cycle. They say, one cycle won't hurt. And then they are like, I don't feel satisfied because it's all about me, right? It's all about me. It's all about what I want. I don't feel satisfied, so I got to take more drugs. So they go on another cycle. They up the dose. Oh, well, I'm still not satisfied because it's all about me. And they just keep on feeding themselves. And then we wonder why, some, body dysmorphia is running rampant. And then we also are trying to normalize steroid use. And we're like, oh, well, like, this guy's awesome because he's open about his use. And that's all that matters, really, is open about his use. Have you guys seen Reddit? Okay. Being natural on Reddit is talked about like it's a bad thing. On the Natty Your Juice subreddits, like, people are like, nah, like, he looks natty. And, like, that, like, it's just pathetic. Like, that guy looks natty. But, like, no, this guy looks like a juice head. And I'm like, no, that guy's actually probably natural. Like, he totally could be natural. But these people are just looked down on the natural capacity for muscle growth, like, so lowly. And it's crazy to me because they look at it as like a bad thing. All of this kind of negativity, I kind of just want to end it on a encouraging note. For not just for naturals, but I mean for people that aspire to actually be great in lifting, to do something great with their lives. I think lifting is one of my favorite things in the world, and I want to be great at it, And I'm after this video, I think you could probably tell I'm never going on drugs. But my goal here is to glorify the creator of my body and say, like, look how great my body is that you have, given me, you have bestowed upon my being, that I can, be super strong. I can be stronger than, 99.9% of the population. I can be more muscular. I can show my muscles, not because, oh, everybody look at me and look at how jacked I am, because that'll make me feel better. It won't make you happy. Okay. That's not where happiness comes from. But I can say, look at this body. This is all for something that's greater than me. And I didn't make my body. I didn't, I wasn't the one who built it. I am nothing without my creator. And yes, Alex Eubank, I'm calling you out because you're a Christian and you're on steroids. Collab? I don't know. Anyways, but I just kind of wanted to get my thoughts out there. If anything wasn't clear, it's probably because I was just rambling, and again, it wasn't scripted. So I might try to talk in the comments, but maybe not. But leave your comments below, start discussions. Hopefully this gets any sort of traction on there. Yeah, go lift.